Let's talk about the kinds of studies we do in epidemiology. And we can classify studies in general in two broad categories. The first is observational studies. As the name implies, observational, observe. It means that we are just standing there and observing the population. We're not getting involved, or we're not interfering, or we're not intervening in anything. We're just observing and taking notes. And so one of the drawbacks of observational studies is, as you can imagine, if you're observing somebody, they also may be observing you. And that could bring about a change in their behavior or in how they talk or they report things. And so that's one of the drawbacks of observational studies, which is that as we are studying the participants, they also are studying us, and their answers may be a little bit biased because they want to appear desirable, or social desirability bias. On the other hand, we have another type of studies that we call interventional studies. And as the name implies, we are not just observing now, we are stepping in and intervening. And so in interventional studies, we, the investigators, are the ones assigning people to one treatment or the other. And so another name for interventional studies is experiments, experimental designs, because we are now performing an experiment to see how exposure to this treatment or that treatment influences the outcome. On the Chi-Squares platform, you can perform both observational studies or experimental study types. So the Chi-Squares platform allows you to collect data both cross-sectionally or longitudinally, where you can just administer a questionnaire and participants can then answer those questions you've provided in the questionnaires, and then you can analyze them to see what the outcomes of interest are. That will be an observational study. But on the Chi-Squares platform, you can also perform certain experiments over the web. For example, we have web randomized trial questions that allow you to randomize people to different kinds of media and then see how exposure to one type of media influences their outcomes. This is very important, particularly if you are a communications researcher or if you do things like risk assessment or harm perception, where you are interested in seeing how exposure to certain media types or how exposure to communication in certain types of media influences outcomes of interest. And so the Chi-Squares platform allows you to do a whole variety of studies, whether observational or experimental type, as far as they're occurring over the web.